What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka Unique Mazique. I am the hardest working man in sports and gaming, and I'm here with a video that you might not have even expected to see because of the channel that it's on. I know we had some conversations about this, on a previous video I did on this channel, and so I got to do some explaining. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure we got our sound is good. All right, at least decent. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna try to let some people get in into this, particular stream first before I go, and just go into everything I'm gonna talk about today. But I also want to make sure that I flow this out here for those on Twitter who might want to jump in. Let's see. All right, so I hope everybody has been good, had a blessed holiday, and all of that. But I'm gonna send this tweet real quick. So we're gonna get into some 2K, of course, and some Madden, a little bit of Madden. But before we get into all of that, um, I'm gonna kind of explain why this stream is on this channel and not on the other channel, and kind of what I'm doing moving forward. Right, I think we had like 5 people so far in the chat. So if you are already here, go ahead and say what's up. I'd appreciate it and all of that. All right, let's see. I'm bring this chat up real quick. We got a couple comments. Dope D, what's going on, sir? Ali Hassan Mirza, what's going on? Spatial, what's good, bro? I appreciate you coming through. Certified J, Paul Hercules, how you guys feeling today? I appreciate y'all jumping through. I'm doing good. Hope you are doing well as well. So before we get into Living Legend, what's good, baby? Appreciate you. All right, before we get into everything, what I want to do is I kind of set this up a couple weeks ago. If you haven't subscribed to the new channel yet, make sure you do that. It is just straight up called Mazique Speaks. Uh, and what's going on, Mr. Nut, Danny 24? Appreciate y'all coming through for sure. It is the new channel just called Mazique Speaks. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to that channel. But hold on a second too. Don't wait to subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe. But I got some more information that I want to give y'all. Um, I had a conversation. So technically, I was supposed to do the stream way earlier today, but I didn't do it as early as I was going to originally because I had a conversation partially on Twitter. Some of it was off of Twitter. And I had a conversation with some other people some weeks ago and all of that. And I don't know if you guys might have remember about it 2 years ago. I split my channels up. I went basketball, football, baseball, the whole nine like that, and it was working pretty well. But for some reason, I can't even remember at this point. But for some reason, I kind of abandoned it. And if anybody's been rocking with me for a while, they know I shift sometimes, and I'm trying to get better with that. Right, I'm trying to get to the point where I don't do that as much. Right, I'm trying to stay a little bit more just consistent. Period. Everybody's got something they're working on. That's my thing. Right. So, but in light of this conversation, one piece of it was with a Madden YouTuber named Xerxes. And Xerxes done pretty well as a young guy, but he's done pretty well on his channel. Then I had a conversation with a couple other guys. And then I had one with Roberto Blake. You guys may have seen him on YouTube. He kind of does a lot of how to build your channel stuff, and had an actual phone conversation with him a while back. And we talked about how having specific content on one channel is a good idea. So if you're doing Madden, only do Madden on a channel. If you're doing some 2K, only do 2K on that channel. If you're doing baseball, only do baseball on that channel, what have you. And how that's like a good idea. And I was totally down with it. But like I said, I kind of got off of it. But in light of these conversations that I've been having recently, and even some with my own, my own family and family/team, I'm gonna go back to that, right? So the channel that I started is not going anywhere. To not this one or the one that I started that I kind of directed you guys to, Mazique Speaks. What I'm going to do with that one, I kind of started it off this way for the first 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Was I was going real hard on Madden because Madden is what's coming out. What's going on, Jason Battle? Appreciate you. But I'm gonna keep it that way. I did do some 2K and some ESBC on that channel, but from moving forward, only my Madden content is gonna go there, right? This channel is gonna be where I do my live streams for. So when I'm talking to you guys, answering questions, that kind of stuff, and I'm doing every other sport besides Madden and 2K. I'm gonna be talking about it here. I'm one of those kind of strange sports fans where I get into a whole bunch of different sports. A lot of people are like, well, I only like football, I only like basketball. That's just not me. So I like pretty much most of these sports equally. So I'll be passing out a link um about the 2K channel that I'll have, just purely 2K. I'll be passing that link out over the next probably 24 to 48 hours. And that's only going to have NBA 2K for the channel content on it, nothing else. And I'm gonna rock with it this way, and we're gonna see what happens. We'll reevaluate it again at the beginning of the 2022, but we're gonna rock it this way. I really feel like this is like the smart way to go, especially now that I have like an entire team working with me to help coordinate the content. Um, been able to do some stuff that I wasn't able to do before. So I'm kind of streamlining it in that way. So I just want you guys to know this channel is not dead. You're gonna pretty much see a stream a week, at least a stream a week here on this particular channel. But this channel will kind of play like point guard in some ways, So if you miss something, if it's about Madden, it'll go on that Madden channel. If you miss something, if it's about 2K, it'll go on that channel. All the other sports for right now will be right here. So I just wanted to get to that and drop that. Scott Burris, what's going on, bro? I appreciate you, sir. Uh, you see, Living Legends. I know I sent a question in, but I forgot a big one. You and Junior doing another Fantasy Hoops project this year. I'm thinking that might happen. I think that might happen. I don't know when. I can't commit to it, but I definitely think it's a possibility. Brian Williams, what's going on, B? I appreciate you. But the Bryans are in here strong today, and we spelling our names the right way. Them Bryans with the eyes, we the ones. We the ones. We know it. We know what's happening. It's them Y guys though. Them Y guys, I don't know about the Y guys, man. The Y guys are a little different. So you know what I'm saying. But the I guys, we got it happening. We got it happening. If you spell your name with a Y, it's okay, bro. It's okay. Don't even trip. Don't even trip, bro. Don't even trip. But I'm telling you, it's something special. Our I guys, we in here, right? We got it, right? We in the building. So I am going to jump into these questions real quick, just so we can, kind of get it popping here. Let me see something. I want to make sure I'm not messing nothing up here. Y'all bear with me for un momento. So it looks like we a little bit over. Yes, yes, what I thought. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. Yeah, we're getting this together here. So this is the first stream I've done like this, so take me a second to make sure something is right here. We don't want any problems. Problems are bad. That's why they call problems. All right. So also I want you guys to know that I am really, really looking forward to ESBC. I don't know how many of y'all in here are fans of that particular game or just that overall thing, but I'm really looking forward to that. So can't wait to bring y'all more information about that. But all right, for now, let's jump into the first question. What's going on, Madden Gamer? And yes, poor Hodge, I am not gonna forget about you today, bro. We're gonna get into these questions right now. All right, so actually, this is not the first question. So let me bring up my first question because I got a little order I want to go into here. All right. All right. So this one comes from my man, Michael Hodge. He has his first question, and it is a NBA 2K question. He says, I'm wondering why 2K is taking too long to announce NBA 2K22. I'm wondering what is going on with 2K. Well, Mike, I really don't think there's anything to worry about, to be honest with you, man. 2K has long been kind of, I don't know, difficult to keep up with. Like just when you think that like what their pattern is, they do something different or weird, and you're like, oh, that ain't what it is. So you know what I mean. So I wouldn't be worried about it. What is it? It's July 5th. By my estimation, next week is probably going to be a big week for 2K information. This is coming off of a holiday weekend and a holiday week or whatever. And I anticipate next week is going to be a big week for 2K information. I think next week is going to start to open up the floodgates to the point where you're getting 2K information, 2K22 information on almost like a daily basis or definitely a weekly basis leading up to the release. So I would not worry too much about it. I think that next week is when you'll see it. I know we haven't seen cover athletes, at least not officially yet. I know there's some leaks out there, but that's when I think you'll start to see it come through the most. All right, next up, we got my man Brian Ware. I told you the Bryans are heavy out here today. We deep. We deep in these streets. And he says, how desperate do you think NBA Live is to break back into the market? Do you think that they will go free to play, or would the NBA not allow that? Now, I don't know the terms of the deal with EA and the NBA, but I don't think that them going free to play would be something that. What's going on, Cy Gold? I appreciate you coming through, bro. EPW, everything pro wrestling. What's going on? What's happening? Scott, you said, don't they usually announce around the finals? They do, and maybe because the finals are pushed back, that's probably why what's happening. I think people are just kind of used to it. Which one thing that tells you, Scott, which I think is maybe a bad thing, and I'm infiltrating a little bit on Brian's question, but just bear with me. But one thing I think that this shows you is that how much people have disconnected 2K from the actual real NBA season. Because if we were more on the NBA's calendar, and because of it have having gone through some changes, I think maybe people wouldn't be looking for it as much. But that's probably 2K's fault too. So it is what it is. But yes, Brian, I think that they really are desperate to get back into um basketball and get a piece of the NBA money, which makes me believe that this announcement that's dropping on the 20th of July that everybody is talking about is quite possibly an NBA related game. Now, is it going to be NBA Street, some form of NBA Street, or are they going to be trying to do something from the live standpoint? We'll find that out. I'm actually been in the process of trying to get as much information about it as I can, but um, yeah, I really think they do really want to get back in there. And I don't believe that they would hire people like Scott O'Gallagher and Rob Jones and not have them touch basketball. That just doesn't make any sense at all. So we'll see what happens. Free to play has always been an option. I've been talking about free to play live for at least 2 or 3 years. People got mad at me. They thought I was demeaning or downgrading live by even making that suggestion, but it wasn't that at all. It's to me a very viable vehicle to try to, or viable strategy to get back into the market. When people have a certain level of trepidation about your product for whatever reason. Maybe it's because you're new. Maybe it's because you've garnered a bad reputation because your product has not been necessarily up to par of late. In either case, there's some hesitancy about people spending money to buy into your product. Well, the best way to invite them back in is to either lower the price, which is what 2K did way back in the day when NFL 2K and NBA 2K were 19.99. They did it because they knew that they were new and they needed to offer a lower price point to get people to turn their eye away from live for a second, to turn their eye away from Madden for a second, to give their game a chance. Well, EA is in a different situation with live. Their product was bad and 2K took over. So now what are they going to do to get people to take a look back, right? And to me, free to play is a great way because see, back in the day when 2K went the 1999 route, they didn't have the ability to earn revenue through end game advertising, through microtransactions, and all of this different type of stuff. Today's gaming world has that opportunity. So now, um, it, let me know if anybody else is having a hard time hearing. Poor Hodge says that he's having a hard time hearing. It sounds okay for everybody else, but now gamers have the ability um, to these developers and publishers have the ability to earn money through microtransactions, through in-game advertisement, through all of the different kind of stuff. So you can offer a free-to-play game, and the whole game doesn't even have to be free to play. You could be free to play most modes, and then if you really buy into it and you want to buy the full version, you can. But you can have something that works in that way, and I think that's a great idea for live at this point, or EA from a basketball standpoint. Come out with a free-to-play model that allows you to build a character, get out there, experience some sort of street or park type mode, some sort of pro-am wrecked style mode that allows people to just go and do whatever they want with their characters. Allow people to play online head to head with NBA teams and that sort of thing, and then even allow them some level of a franchise mode, but without all of the features blown completely out, but some stuff that is kind of locked behind the full version. And the biggest key is the game going to be fun? That's what's going to grab people. Is the game going to be fun to play? And then as you start to see what the layers are, you'll find out. Man, you look at Fortnite, man. Fortnite, and I know Fortnite's not a sports game, but if you look at the fact that people started to buy into Fortnite, first and foremost, is because it was fun to those people who like the game. Like if you don't like Fortnite, then it's obviously we're not talking about you, but to the millions and millions of people who like Fortnite, that that was the initial grab and it got you to play. So I think and Fortnite had a bigger hill to climb because they didn't have a major license for which to lean on. Like EA will be leaning on the NBA license, and having whomever they have on the cover, which is not going to be Luca because they've lost him to 2K. But I think it's definitely a viable approach, and it's something that I really think they should do. Don't know if it's what they will do, but it's what they should do. Next up, we got my man Danny Tufo or D24 Heat Up Danny. He says, "Hey Brian, I was wondering what your perspective is on the whole my team situation in NBA 2K. I believe it was incredibly more enjoyable back then, especially in 2K16 and 17. I also want to know what you think of 2K's ignorance toward improving pro am. Thanks." Um, let's go. I'm gonna go to the first part first, right? So as far as my team, I probably played my team less this year than I have in I can't remember how long. Um, there's a lot of it I like. There's a lot of things. My team is like politics to me in a sense, right? You know how when you're trying to decide what politician or what candidate you're going to vote for or you're going to support, you gotta have to you say like I'm not gonna like everything about none of them, right? Every one of them gonna have something about them that I don't particularly dig, but the one I'm gonna go with is the one that has the least amount of things that I can't stand, or the ones that don't have something completely egregiously wrong that I'm like I just can't get behind that, right? So I might agree with two or three things that they say, but there's one thing they got that's so crazy bogus to me I just can't get with it, right? That's kind of how my team is for me. Like I want to support it, I want to play it, and every mode I look at like this. But they have some really cool stuff, like the different things you can do in my team. What is that called? Ascension is really dope. Just the overall building card or building teams and collections is pretty dope. Visually, it's pretty exciting. The way Triple Threat looks and the different courts and stuff looks. It's pretty cool, right? But the deal breaker for me is around about February, late January, the mode just gets absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it just gets to the point where it don't even feel like you playing basketball anymore. all of these ridiculous super cards that are all out here that are they're not even versions. They're not even they're not even logical, even in a fantasy standpoint. They're not even logical versions of the cards that they're supposed to be. I feel like it would make more sense to me if they weren't even using real players. Because why put Shaq's picture on the cover of a card that is so not Shaq that it don't even matter, right? And that ends up how I feel about so much of it. Now, there are two modes that if they had these two modes in them, I feel like it wouldn't bother me, right? So if they had a salary cap mode, because to me, the salary cap mode would kind of curve some of the ridiculousness because it's like, okay, you got these super duper characters or whatever, super duper players on your team. But the way the salary cap works, you can only have two or three of those guys. The rest of them, you actually have to build a team around people with skills and sets and that sort of thing. That right there would be really awesome to me because it's almost like it's chess pieces into us, and you still have to incorporate some level of team building. The way my team is now, there is no team building. You just get as many dark matters or galaxy opals or whatever that you can get, and that's just it. And then those people who have a team that is even in that category, then now it comes down to which one of you guys is better at this particular 2K system. But there's no real team building, so it kind of kills it to me around January. And I just refuse to allow myself to get invested in it from September to January, knowing that around that time I was just gonna be like, this is crazy anyway, right? So salary cap is one. The next one is a draft mode. Every other collector mode pretty much has a draft mode. Diamond Dynasty has a really nice one. Madden still to me has the best one with draft champions or mud champions or whatever they call it. I don't really like mud either, but that's a whole nother story. But a lot of it is for the same reasons that my team turns me off. Um, yeah, and a draft mode again brings in some structure to it, right? I'm not saying you should take unlimited out, right? I'm not saying that. I believe that every collector mode should have some version of unlimited, right? So this is where you just go if you just want to put your best team, everything that you've collected, just put that out there, go, and y'all just play. I think that definitely should be a mode that is available. But I also think that there should be a mode available where there is some piece of of a structure and team building. And to me, there it just isn't one at all in my team. And that's why I really don't play it at all. So that's my thing on my team. As far as you were saying their ignorance toward improving pro am. Ignorance, I agree with that. I'm fresh on you. That was a really good statement. Here you said that my team limited should be all week long. I 100% agree. I actually told 2K that when they introduced it to me before the game came out. I was like, why is it only on the weekend? I'm like, this should be like all week long. That would be so dope. That's actually what Diamond Dynasty does. They have events, and it is just it. A Diamond Dynasty has events, and it is the equivalent of my team limited, but it goes for at least a week. I think it is. I don't know how long it goes, but I think it goes a week. Right now, they have one called Switch It Up. Everybody on your team has to be a switch hitter. Dude, how dope is that? That's awesome. Can you imagine if my team had an event that lasts a week that was the 6-6 and under league, so nobody on your team could be over 6-6, or lefties only, or something to that effect, or um, North Carolina, everybody on your team had to come from a North Carolina school, or how about no college? Everybody in your team had to be had to be from had to have come straight out of high school, or something. It's almost limitless, right? It's almost limitless, or you could have something like college players of the year or NCAA champion. So everybody on your team had to be a part of a national championship team. I mean, that right there to me is how you really make my team have some other type of value. You diversifying the mode, and it ain't in there right now, right? So to answer the second part, you said ignorance toward improving pro am. Ignorance means you don't know. It's not that 2K doesn't know. They know that you should be able to set up leagues in Pro Am. They know that you should have like stat tracking and like a commissioner tool in Pro Am. They know that. I feel that there is some hesitation to do it because maybe they don't want to compete with the 2K league or something, which I think is ridiculous because I think if you allow people to set up their own leagues in Pro Am and give them commissioner like tools, I think all you're doing is helping to create a feeder league for 2K league, which is only going to strengthen the 2K league, which, and I know that the 2K league and 2K are actually separate entities. I don't know if a lot of people know that they're not the same company. It's a joint venture, but this is the 2K league is mostly the NBA's league. So it's kind of like 2K is supplying the game, but they're not managing or working the league afterwards. After they have provided the build, that they're going to provide and maybe whatever a number of maintenance sort of meetings or whatever that take place through the season or through the year. Beyond that, 2K doesn't really do anything at all with the game itself. I mean, with the league itself. So that's something I don't know if a lot of people know that, but that's actually how that functions. So I don't think there's an ignorance in terms of Pro Am. I just think that there's a philosophical difference, and there's also probably some tech limitations as well. Nobody has to tell anybody about server issues that 2K has had. I mean, we know that that's been a thing um, for forever. It's just it is what it is. I mean, Jason Marshall just said that they needed to pay more attention to the community. I actually don't think that that's true. I think they pay a lot of attention to the community. I actually think they pay sometimes too much attention to the community because they make some knee jerk reactions based off of some rather irrational complaints sometimes that come from people who are more mad that they lost than that there's a problem with the game. And then sometimes there is a problem with the game, but what gets tended to the irrational complaint or the logical thing that says there's something wrong with this needs to be fixed, right? So I don't know which one that is, but I do know that they pay a lot of attention to the community. That I think is a misconception that they don't listen to the community, and I think people say that when they want something, either right or wrong, and it doesn't get put in. And just because they didn't put something in after someone said it didn't mean that they didn't listen. It just means they chose not to do it. And honestly, I don't know if one is better than the other, to be honest, because if you hear me and you hear what I'm saying and you know that I have a point and you don't bring it in, then that's just as bad, if not worse, than ignoring it altogether, to be honest. But I know for a fact they listen to the community, and I know for a fact that they try to incorporate some stuff that people want. But the thing of it is, they can't put everything in too. That's the other that in being fair, they can't put everything in that everybody wants because so many 2K people and 2K fans play the game differently, right? The stuff that's important to me as a person who is primarily a my NBA guy, and then the next thing that I would probably play more is my team if they didn't have those things I talked about that I don't like. And then the next thing I'd probably play next most is my career. And then after that, it'd probably be Park and Pro Am. That's the way my personal preference of playing the game would work. I play a lot of Play Now online too. I like that, even though the players aren't as good as they are when you play my team, just in terms of the human players you play. I can win 17, 18 games in a row on Play Now online. But that's because I cut my teeth playing my team a lot. And if you go from my team to Play Now online, you'll find that it's easier. First of all, not everybody's Superman on the court. And then second of all, just the player bases are different. They're not as there's some people who play now online who are really good at the game, but it's just not as many of them as it is as in when you're playing my team. But that is something that I enjoy because I actually kind of enjoy playing more with regularly rated players than I enjoy playing with spruced up, jacked up guys in 2K. So yeah, I don't think it's ignorance. I think it's just a matter of they either have a technical issue or they don't believe or there's some sort of conflict in fleshing pro am out more. All right, the next question comes from Andrew Ox. I appreciate him. He's been around with me for a minute, in different, just in different capacities. Appreciate him. He says, "Do you think it will ever be possible that 2K truly replicates the overall feel and atmosphere of an NBA crowd? I think they should try and implement a finals implement. Why do I keep not saying implement right? Implement a finals atmosphere system similar to what NBA Live 10 had. Is such an important aspect of the game. And it's funny that you said that, Andrew, because honestly, um, the what Madden is doing with the dynamic game day and what I saw and experienced in the playtest, it tells me honestly, man, that they are actually doing that in Madden. Exactly what you just described right there in your text of this tweet. That's what Madden actually did this year. It really does feel the atmosphere feels different. I think 2K is moving in that direction with this first next gen one, with the living environments or living arenas or whatever they all call. It's like the same concept that they call something different. Each person brands it different, but I think they're moving in that direction, right? You have in playoff time, everybody's wearing a certain color or whatever in the stands. Um, Honestly, they could just simply adjust the volume, you know, and if they kept the exact visuals that they have right now, right? And they adjusted the volume level of the crowd, right? So if whatever the gauge is, right? You can't go over 110 decimals or whatever the gauge is. You can't go over that if it's a regular season game, but if it's a playoff game, it goes up to 150, whatever the measurement is. I'm would probably be using the wrong terminology, but conceptually, this is how this would make a big difference, right? um I think that would be a big thing. That would definitely be a big thing. Now, Jason Marshall saying they need Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, and honestly, I said this in another stream. I really don't agree that they need to have these big name guys, because there is a positive and a negative to that, and to me, the negative outweighs the positive. Now, I love Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, and Mark Jackson. I think they are the best three person group calling basketball in the world right now. I could substitute Doris Burke in there a couple and for somebody here or there, and it wouldn't drop off at all. Doris Burke is ridiculously dope at what she does. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I really like. Actually, honestly, I think I love Kevin Harlan, of course. Jimmy Jackson's pretty good. Um, I don't really Reggie doesn't bother me. Reggie Miller doesn't bother me. As much as I love Chris Webber, I don't really like Chris Webber's color commentary. Yeah, not at all. But the downside is what poor Harsh just kind of said. It's not even just expensive, it's access, right? So if you want these living commentating type of a concepts, like how what EA is building, right? Brandon Gowden and Charles Davis don't cost as much to bring in as Kevin Harlan, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson. It's less expensive. And so the publisher is more apt to shell out the money. But even more than that, say for instance, EA and 2K says, we're not going to worry about the money. We just going to go ahead and we're going to go for it, right? It's still a limited amount of access. You're not going to be able to have these people come in and consistently record new content, new lines, new more specific stuff to what's going on. Your commentary is not going to evolve. It's going to be exactly what it was from the day you bought it. And that is okay, but it's the type of commentary like Vincent Trailer just said in the comments. He says, I don't even listen to the commentators while playing 2K. Well, one of the reasons that is because after the first 3 to 5 games, I mean, 2K is a little different. They got much deeper commentary than most games. But after you've been playing the game for about a week and a half or two, the chances of you gonna hear anything new that you haven't heard already are slim. The reason being is because it's gonna run out of lines at some point, right? So to me, I feel like it would be so much better if you had I think Dime Dropper 5 just kind of talked a little bit about this. He says that I would he said I would love local broadcast feature. Um what is it? I would love a local broadcast feature, for example, the commentator for the Hornets this season. Well, I don't even necessarily want that guy because that guy's got a cost to him too, as well. Um, I want somebody that 2K or EA can hire as a part of the development team. You are the audio, you're part of the commentary, you're part of the team. So you have to come to work just like the engineers and the AI people, everybody have to come to work and do this. And so you know that these days you're actually recording. You're actually recording the stuff. So and it new content or new audio drops come in just like new content or with the major updates or the sideline notes or whatever that they're calling, and they get this new audio drops 3 to 4 times a release cycle, and this drops in, and it what it does is it ensures that you're constantly having fresh and new audio. That right there would be so phenomenal to me, and I feel like we're already seeing a little bit of that with with what Madden is doing. And I see you guys are suggesting YouTubers, and I think that could work. But I know a lot of those YouTubers might charge a pretty penny too. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, and then also you do also want somebody that sounds decent doing it, right? Because everybody that's doing YouTube is not going to be able to make this sound great, and they're not going to have stories and things to tell or insight that they can add. So I want sports people. I want people who know, or like if you got a young person who wants to be a commentator, right? This is what they want to do. They already come in with a certain amount of knowledge. You guys might be surprised at how many popular new YouTubers don't really know that much about basketball or don't know that much about football. They can easily be dragged into shallow water, into deep waters, and you're listening to stuff that they're saying, and you're like, Shaq did not go to Kentucky, bro. Shaq went to LSU. Like, yeah. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff. So I would want sports people, but I feel like having somebody that's actually a part of the team is actually better. All right, the next question. Did I answer that all the way? Yeah. All right, the next question comes from 2KOG, Old Head Gamer. And he says, do you think EA will drop the ball this year with Madden on next gen? What do you expect from them? Well, at this point, man, I don't think it's much of a secret what they're doing. I think it's been pretty that EA doesn't with Madden, they don't do like what 2K do. They don't play a lot of games, which sometimes I think they should play a few more games. They should be a little bit more breadcrumby than they are. But they come out and say, hey, here's what the game is in June, just about, everything's gonna be in Madden. That's it. And so you got July and August to decide what you're gonna do, but this is what it is. So we kind of know what Madden's gonna be, especially with a play test, you kind of have a good idea of how it's gonna play too. Do I think that based off of everything that I've seen, known, and experienced and learned about the game, that they dropped the ball? No, they did not drop the ball. Um, is this going to be the Madden that everybody's been waiting on for years? Not quite. We're moving in the right direction, but we're not there yet. But we definitely have seen some significant steps, enough to me for a reasonable person not to kind of poo-poo the whole thing, like, oh, that's just same old Madden stuff. They've been saying that for years. No, I actually think we have seen evidence to put this in a different box than what we have before. So I don't think that they've dropped the ball. I think this is going to be probably the best Madden in a long time, but still missing stuff that most people still want to see from the game. All right, the next question comes. I told you the Bryans is in here heavy, man. Brian, and this is so crazy, right? Because Brian Thomas, I told him this on Twitter. This brother looks so much like my nephew, whose name is Brian as well. This dude looks so much like my nephew. I had the first time I saw, I had to double take. I thought my nephew was playing games on Twitter. So this dude right here, he my guy anyway, just off of that. but it's so crazy, right? So he says, where do you see the direction of franchise mode in sports games in general heading, and what can be done to take it to the next level as we enter a new console generation? I'll say this: I've said it before, and this is what I believe. I believe that um, they're going to have to monetize franchise mode. And I don't mean monetize it in a, oh, well, to upgrade your team, you got to charge this and that. No. What I believe is that franchise mode should be a um a a a monthly service or a live service, which is what we talk about Madden is. Or they say Madden is this already, right? But when they say that, mostly they've been referring to Ultimate Team. This year, they're saying they're going to start directing it to franchise mode. I would go as far as to say that franchise mode as a live service should be a separate game all to its own. I'm not going to say that that's a realistic thing, but I wouldn't mind seeing that at all, right? 99.99 a year, which is pretty much a collector's edition, or 9.99 a month, and you give me the best franchise mode I've ever seen in my life with all types of stat tracking, um, you know, multiple human user support, multiple year support, carryover saves. And I'm talking about across the board. I'm not just talking about Madden. I'm talking about Madden. I'm talking about 2K. I'm talking about MLB The Show. Everybody that does a franchise mode. I'm able to customize my own logos. I'm able to have unlimited creative player situations. You give me roster updates, not only real life roster updates, which is what we already get, but you also give me roster additions that you consistently add to the overall pot. So maybe one year, one week, or one month they give me a 1970s pack or 70s roster edition, and then now maybe we do something else, just different fictional roster stuff that you start to add into the game. You allow the community to create rosters that you then disperse across a fleshed out fully fleshed out franchise mode without crazy limitations, but you charge people 9.99 a month, or 99.99 for your annual membership. And I would be on it like you've never seen. I would knock down 16 small antelopes. Yes, picture that. Picture me running through a group of antelopes. I would do it for that type of a franchise mode. It would be just ridiculous. And a lot of people are like, man, I don't paying no more money. Bro, you already spend, a lot of people already buy the collectors or the Legends edition of some of these games for 99.99. They do that and they go back and they play one mode, or they do that and they go play two modes. Because most people don't play 50 gazillion modes. Most people buy Madden for whatever mode it is that they play. The Ultimate Teamers buy for Ultimate Team. The franchise mode people buy for franchise mode. So you're spending the same money anyway, right? 9.99 a month, man. Most of us blow $10 a month on stuff that we do not spend nowhere near as much time as we would spend on a franchise mode that we really loved and we could dive headfirst into. I mean, man, how many people spend $10 a month on two visits to McDonald's that you probably didn't need neither one of them? You know what I'm saying? Or one and a half visits based off where a McDonald's prices is now. 9.99 a month, man, to play a crazy, ridiculous, fully fleshed out, man. And see, why would EA do that? Because if you're trying to get direct money from this particular group, and you're ensuring that you're going to get this money, because these people who love, I'm telling you, peer pressure is something, man. You get, and it ain't even bad peer pressure, it'd be good peer pressure, right? You and your guys get mad, and they got this league, and everybody's on this league. All you got to do, you ain't even no disc involved. You just get online, you download the game, and you jump right into the game. You jump right into the league with people. You see how consistent people are with fantasy football leagues and stuff like that. It's like an annual thing. You show up for your draft. You do your thing. Everybody loves it. I mean, it's like this whole bonding type of situation. That's exactly what Madden franchise mode could be. I mean, there are people that like that would pay to have their fantasy football league ran by a whole system. All you got to do is show up and make your trades. And man, I'm telling you, it's like he said, "Be like, put them fries down." Right? I definitely need to push back from the fries. I haven't had any potatoes in a long time. I'm trying to do the keto thing, and I'm also playing the game on the treadmill. I lost like 6 pounds doing it, so that pandemic weight is for real. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. Um, I feel like that would be that's the wave. That's the future. That's where you should be with franchise mode. That's where it should be. I'm hoping that we get there, B. I really am. I really am hoping that we get there. And I kind of think we might. It might not be exactly as I described, but that's ideal to me. Next up is my man B. He says, "Do you think 2K has any plans to fix rec next year? This year was unplayable because no one wanted to play pro am, so they all just went to rec, and that's messed up when you don't have a team of 5." I agree. I understand what you're saying. Um, as a person like me who does not have a full pro am team, don't have a group of people that I run with like that, um, when you it can be very frustrating, right? Because you show up and you want to just play, right? And then you got to play with the team or the guys that don't want to pass the ball and this that's going on and that. And I guess those are issues that you have even when rec works, right? It just it just is. But I feel like I don't know, man. I personally that solo approach to rec and pro am or that whole style of gaming is just really flawed because it's just the way people play, man. The chances that you're gonna get a team that's gonna play with you the right way when they don't know you is very limited. It's the same thing in park, I mean, you can sometimes get away with it a little bit and don't have to worry about it in park as much because it's not as many people on the floor. But it's just it's just tough, man. So I definitely, I mean, I want every part of the game to work better, man. Whether it's a part that I spend the most time playing or not, the people who play Rec and Pro Am consistently, man, I want them to have a good time. I want them to appreciate the game that they're playing. But I definitely know they have plans to fix Rec. I don't think they ever go into a cycle and say, well, we just not gonna fix that. That's just broken, and we're not even gonna try. I do think that there are times where they're like, that's broken. We're not gonna get a chance to fix that. It's just not gonna work out. I know we're not gonna get a chance to fix it. It's not enough time. And I think they could do better by being upfront and saying this particular mode has problems. Or even maybe even saying we're gonna include the mode, but here's the issues. And maybe you give people something to compensate for it. Maybe you give everybody 50,000 VC or something because this doesn't work at the very beginning. And then you also disclosed it that it didn't work. I think that would be something good to do. If it wasn't in working order. And now maybe you try to fix it through the year or whatever, but what have you. But I don't think they ever go into anything and say this just isn't gonna work. But I do believe, and I think I might have a question that comes to no, I don't. I don't know if I do it now. So I'm just gonna say it now. I do believe this year is going to be more about maintenance with 2K. I don't think we're going to see as many new features as we usually do. Not saying we won't see any, but I don't think we're going to see as many of them as we usually see. I think this year is going to be a lot about just making sure stuff works as much as they can. And I really don't have a problem with that because I already believe that they have more features than pretty much every video game out there. Now it's time to make sure all that stuff works. It don't make no sense if you have the greatest franchise mode in the world, which is what my NBA is, but when player progression doesn't work right, when the game still crashes if you got too many creative players, or all this different kind of stuff that I encountered last year, or when my NBA online is still a hot mess. This is the reason why a lot of people still take shots at this game, which is a great game overall, but they open themselves up for it with that kind of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have criticism no matter what. That's just how people are. But it's all about how much ammunition are you providing. So That's that. So next question comes from Rugby Post. He says, I agree with your take that my NBA does not need any additions. So I said this on another stream on the other channel. Just a concerted effort to fix existing features. Do you have any intel on how likely they are to do that? I don't have specific intel on it, but I do not, I won't say specific, but I do just basically with me putting two and two together and just paying attention. I've been around this particular franchise for a long time. Um, I've covered, man, I think I might have covered 15 different 2K releases. So it's a lot of stuff I just kind of know the way they move. And or and sometimes I could be wrong, but a lot of it is repeatable or is repeated kind of a stuff. And from what I can tell, all of what I'm seeing so far suggests that this is not going to be a major super new feature heavy year, which I am totally okay with. Just make it work. All right. Next question comes from my man Monster and the two C's dad. This is Living Legend 10. And his question, I had to bring it up in three different screens here, but he says, as an emergency stream is in need. And it was because of the NCAA information that dropped that had everybody fired up. He said, Mazique speaks. With the announcement of athletes being able to profit off of their image and likeness, does that push the NCAA football timeline up at all? As of now, we were looking into 2023 release date. Do we possibly get 2022 now? Emergency stream needed if just for 10 minutes to discuss. I wasn't able to get to the emergency stream at the time, but he did also post a screen print of this document that shows that EA basically proposed or applied for the license to use college football, wanted to potentially drop it in July of 23. So that's what he was talking about. I don't think that they will push it up. I don't. I think having that cleared helps them, gives them time to properly market the game. I think that you now can get some college football players involved in the marketing, which I think would be huge. I think that would be just insanely huge. If you have a kid that is, one of the top prospects in the nation, um, as a part of the whole build up, then how big was that? I was Spencer Rattler from I believe he goes to Oklahoma, right? Yeah, that if you have Spencer Rattler in one of the in the in a commercial or on some image associated with the game, and he can get paid for it now, that would be a big deal, man. I think that would help a lot. Also, they need to get past some of figuring out which teams are going to be or which schools are going to be included, but I don't think it bumps it up. And I had a lot of questions about this, so I kind of just decided to use the Living Legend 10s, but we had a lot of questions related to this for the show. So I just, it was all kind of like, so what does this mean for 2K, this, that, and the third? I want to also see, and so I'm going to group my answer in with that. I'm hoping that this opens up College Hoops 2K coming back. I really, oh my God, I want College Hoops 2K back just as much, if not possibly a little bit more. No, just as much. I won't say more, but just as much as I want a college football game. College Hoops 2K was so fun, so fantastic, man. And if you allowed you to take rookie or take the class draft classes off and import them into 2K the way you used to be able to do it. Oh my God, man. It's only going to make my NBA just that much better. Only going to make franchise mode for Madden better. All of that. I'm hoping that that's what we see. So yeah, I'm hoping that's how it works. So let's go to the next question, which comes from Tall Lumberjack. He says, do the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL limit the features or customization for developers more than is known to us? 2K seems to have more customizable features than the rest. Where do PC sports game go from here compared to focus on next gen consoles? So he's got two questions there. I think in some instances the leagues do. Well, in fact, I know that in some instances the league will limit um the what somebody can do. Like so, and but you specifically said customization, but you also said features. Okay. So gameplay. I know that in the NFL specifically wanted the tackling and the collisions scaled back a bit because of the whole concussion conversation. That I know. I know that MLB doesn't want visuals of players charging the mound. So they don't want to play up the brawl aspect of it. These are things that I know for a fact that have actually been told to me by someone in the industry or what have you. As far as 2K, I don't know this for a fact, but I would be almost positive that there is no way in the world 2K is going to sign off on a fight happening on the court. Like, every once in a while we see some punches or some pushes and shoving in the real NBA. I cannot imagine the NBA is going to allow 2K to put that in the game. NHL is different because fighting is considered a part of the game, so you definitely have that in. But I don't know exactly what they would have, but for that aspect, yes. Now, as far as customization, I was told that at one point we thought that the NFL was blocking EA from allowing you to create a team and that sort of stuff in franchise mode. I was told by someone at EA that that was not the case. I believe Rex Dixon even said it on. It was after he left the company, but I believe he said it might not even been after he left. I think it might have even been before that was not an issue. That in the NFL was not tying their hands in that situation. A lot of times, I think it's just philosophical differences. I mean, you look at someone like Sean Grady, who I can tell, he's trying to understand the franchise mode gamer, but I really have I don't know that he does. I really don't know that he does. And I'm gonna give. He said something in the Madden podcast that really made me say, I really don't, and I don't think it's a lack of I don't think it's a lack of effort. I think he just doesn't understand. I don't think he's a I'm pretty positive he's not a franchise mode gamer. I can just tell by the way he kind of talks and references things. And I know some of this is business, right? Which is absolutely understandable, right? But in the podcast, he says, Swami and the other gentleman, I can't remember his name, but Swami and the other gentleman on the podcast were talking about franchise mode, and they were saying how I think it was player versus CPU is the most common way to play franchise mode. And then Sean Grady says, well, actually, no, it's not. He was like, really, the most common way to play is through face of the franchise. And so I'm like, what? And so then Swami says, oh no, you're talking about, he said, are you you are it was something like that, but he says, oh, you must be including face of the franchise in as a part of the franchise mode. And he was like, yes. And then he was like, yeah, I know the franchise guys are going to say that's not franchise mode. And I'm like, you right. It's not franchise mode. Face of the franchise is not franchise mode. There is a difference between a career mode, which is totally cool if that's what you want to play. But there is a difference between career mode and franchise mode. There's a big difference. And if you think that they're the same, then that tells me you don't really get hardcore franchise people. You don't get it. And I understand that everybody, and I'm not saying that face of the franchise isn't important. I'm just saying that when you mention it in the same sentence and in the same grouping, when you're talking about franchise mode like it's the same, it's worrisome because it makes me wonder, are you going to do improvements to face of the franchise and think that that means that you have improved franchise mode? Because if that's the case, that's not gonna be it. That's not gonna hit the mark. So yeah, I like I said, I think a lot of people think that they get it, but they don't. But so he also says, where do PC games go from here? I think the PC sports video games are going to be kind of a little stagnant for about a year or two because they're going to wait for more people to have next gen systems. Once they get more folks that have next gen systems, then the PC versions are not essentially undercutting the next gen version. Because we all know there's PCs out here that have specs that are better than the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. But if they gave you the next gen version on your PC, then where's the drive or the or the motivation for you to go out and get a PS5 or Xbox Series X, especially if you're a hardcore sports gamer, or even if you're just any kind of gamer. Like, where's the motivation if you're going to get the same exact deal for the PC that you've probably had for a year and a half or so already? It just, so to me, that's the reason why. Once I would predict in and around 2023 is when you'll probably see the PC versions come out that'll be the equivalent of next gen, because the PC version is usually the exact same version without the mods or whatever, but it's usually the exact same version of the game, the best version of the game. That's usually what it is. And right now, if they did that with next gen, it would kind of undercut the consoles. Armand Johnson said, "Where's the face of the franchise news, though? It's coming. It's called United We Rise. They haven't rolled it out yet, like in terms of the full details. Um, it is not going to have college in it at all, from my understanding. What it's going to have is you kind of pick the position that you want to start out as a rookie, but it's not going to have the college experience in it, from my understanding. So I would be surprised unless they just decided to leave that out of the different descriptions and things that I've seen and read. But I don't think that they would do that, because that's usually a selling point that, oh, you can start as you in USC or Texas or Alabama or whatever. But no, I didn't see any of that. They say you pick what position you want to start out as a rookie. So that town sounds to me like you just skip the college experience altogether. Doesn't really sound to me like they put a lot of work into it either, which, it's a shrinking development cycle. They're not going to be able to touch everything every year. I'm glad that they definitely put work in the actual franchise mode. So we'll see. All right, my last question comes from Poppy Chulo the boy, and he said, when will they put new created player faces in the game? Um, is that something I look forward, because that's something that I would look forward to on next gen. Okay, so I am not sure if that's going to make it this year. I hope there will be, right? Because right now, to me, the creative player faces they need more sculpting. I've said this over and over again, man, but the MLB The Show sculptor is so good. Like, you literally, if you're decent at this particular tool, you can make anybody. I mean, you can make anybody. I'm talking about, I don't care. You can make anybody. If you're good enough with the tool, you can make anybody. It's so good that you know how like WWE 2K has the where you can take somebody's face and put it in. You don't even need to do that really with MLB The Show sculptor, because it's just that good where you can make anybody you want to make. So to me, if you could upgrade the sculpting to that point, that would be enough. And I wouldn't even worry about, putting in new creative player faces. Now, what I do want to see is more hairstyles. More hairstyles would be great. That would be fantastic. As far as tattoos is because you can do so much, like they also need to go like how what MLB The Show logo creator is, and even EA's logo creator or tattoo usage on EA UFC. You can kind of make anything you want by putting shapes together. To me, that's the best way to do it, because now you don't have to worry about getting sued for anything. You let people create whatever it is they want to create, and that's just it. But obviously, if you create something bogus and it gets shared, your account should get banned. I'm a big proponent of that. Y'all can call me a trick, a cheater, I mean, a snitch, or whatever you want to call me. But when I go online and I go into one of these community creation community, suites or whatever, if I see something bogus, I report them joints every time. I email people about it. Anybody that I know with these companies, because I'm gonna do my part to make sure that some goofy doesn't steal away the opportunity to continue to make dope stuff on these games. Like that, like I've done so many roster projects, so many league rebrands and stuff like that. And it's my fear that at some point somebody's gonna do something so bogus, it's gonna get some level of attention in the wrong area. And a company's gonna get scared and pull the whole joint. 2K did it to a degree with the t-shirt maker that they used to have in the neighborhood. People were going around making racist stuff on it, and they got spooked and just took the t-shirt thing down. You didn't even have to do that. You really didn't. All you had to do was every single person who made one of these shirts, you get your account banned. If you got one on in the game, whether it's before the ban or after, somebody reports you, your joint gets banned. It's just that simple. And I'm telling you, these guys and girls who are doing this crazy stuff, they value these accounts. They want to keep playing this game. And yeah, they might do it on multiple accounts. So you just don't keep getting banned until you get tired. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that is the way you do this. And then you got to start banning IP addresses. Whatever you got to do, ban these people. Do not let people keep spreading negativity. People go to the game, play the game to get away from negativity. They go to play the games to have fun and all that kind of stuff. I don't go to the game to do this. And so many people have gotten to the point where they just accept it. It's like, oh, this is just part of it. I'm gonna go here and this person gonna call me the N-word, or I'm gonna go here and they gonna call all of the females bees and hoes, and they gonna do that. Nah, you ain't. If I see it, I'm snitching. It's just what it is. You know, it's just what it is. And y'all can say whatever you want, but that to me, man. It's just it ain't right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't right, and I don't dig it. So that's what I do. You know, but that that to me is one of the biggest obstacles to making these creation suites better, is just policing the people who abuse them. You know, when you abuse them, there's a consequence for it, and it's you getting banned. It's just what it is. So that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate. I know EPW. It's bad, man. It's bad. It's bad. And the Call of Duty community, you think 2K community bad, boy? I'm trying to tell you, Call of Duty, they don't care what nationality you are. They gonna call you something. I'm trying to tell you, you could be from Tibet. They gonna find out whatever is the most horrible thing you can say to a native of Tibet, and they go find out what it is and call you that. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's nasty in them Call of Duty streets. But yeah, man, don't be. It don't take, man. It don't take but 60 to 90 seconds to report somebody, and you'll be surprised. You know, they will snatch some of these folk up off of here, man. And I'm telling you, I ain't gonna even lie. Sometimes I just get the enjoyment out of knowing that the next time that sucker try to log on, they gonna be like, wait a minute, what happened to my? I can't get on my. What happened? I can't get on. I can't get on 2K. You doggone right, you can't get on 2K. You better go play Zuma or something. You ignorant sucker. I ain't even gonna lie. I love it. I love it. I just be like, I bet they stuck at home like, man. So I mean, you mean tell me I got banned? Uh, uh, how, how can you? I can't believe I actually got banned. You did. You got banned. You goof. Like, sit down. Have 152 seats at one time. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate everybody watching. Um, if you missed any part of this, most of it I'll try to break out in the individual little segments just about that particular part. If it's about Madden, I'll put it on Mazique Speaks, which that name will be slightly changed, probably Mazique Speaks Madden or something like that. And then I'll do a 2K channel, and it's going to be Mazique Speaks 2K, and the 2K stuff will go there. Anything about any other game or whatever, it'll be on this channel as well. And I'm thinking about live streaming some Diamond Dynasty. I have been playing the smoke out of that the last 2 or 3 days, and I am really, really enjoying myself. So I might share some of that with you guys sometime this week. But for now, I appreciate everybody who's took time to watch this video. If you haven't liked it yet, please do that. If you have not subscribed yet to this channel, as well as the Mazique Speaks channel, please do that as well. God bless and peace.